The Little Prince is a modern parable which has stirred the minds and hearts of countless readers. The Little Prince is a symbol of the soul of man. However, some schools of intellectual thought deny the existence of the soul and see the human personality as a merely physical, vital, and mental complex. In contrast, we have in the Little Prince an entity within us, which by virtue of being a true learner is also our true teacher. One lesson that can be drawn from Saint-Exupéry's story is that the teacher should try to discover and awaken the little prince that lives in each child. The educational consequences of the recognition of that hidden spark could initiate startlingly new trends in educational experiments.
When I was 6 years old, I made my first drawing. It was a boa constrictor digesting an elephant. I showed it to the grown-ups and asked them if the drawing frightened them, and they said, "Why would anyone be frightened of a hat?" Then I made a second drawing, showing the boa constrictor from the inside so the grown-ups could easily see it. They always needed to have things explained to them. After seeing my 2 drawings, they suggested that I busy myself with matters of consequence. That ended my drawing career. And so I became a pilot and lived my life alone, without anyone I could really talk to, until my plane had engine trouble in the desert, 1,000 miles from any human habitation. Imagine my surprise when I heard,
"If you please, draw me a sheep."
I jumped to my feet, thunderstruck. "But what are you doing here?"
"If you please, draw me a sheep."
I told the chap, a little crossly too, that I did not know how to draw.
"Oh, that doesn't matter. Draw me a sheep."
So I drew one of the 2 pictures I had drawn so often.
No, I do not want an elephant inside a boa constrictor. Draw me a sheep." "No, the sheep is sickly. Make me another."
So I made another drawing.
"You see yourself this is a ram. It has horns."
By this time, my patience was exhausted, so I tossed off this drawing. "This is only his box. The sheep you asked for is inside."
"Oh, this is exactly the way I wanted it. Do you think that this sheep will have to have a great deal of grass? Where I live, everything is very small. Look, he has gone to sleep."
And that is how I made the acquaintance of the Little Prince. At that moment, I was very busy trying to unscrew a bolt that had got stuck in my engine.
"A sheep, if it eats little bushes, does it eat flowers too?"
A sheep eats anything it finds in its reach.
"Even flowers that have thorns?"
Yes.
"Then the thorns, what use are they?"
I was very much worried, and I had so little drinking water left that I had to fear the worst.
"The thorns, what use are they?"
The Little Prince never let go a question once he had asked it. "The thorns are of no use at all. Flowers have thorns just for spite."
"Oh, I don't believe you. Flowers are weak creatures. They reassure themselves as best they can. They believe that their thorns are terrible
Don't
weapons."
you see that I am very busy with matters of consequence?
"Matters of consequence? You talk just like grown-ups. The flowers have been growing thorns for millions of years. For millions of years, the sheep have been eating them just the same. And is it not a matter of consequence to try to understand why the flowers go to so much trouble to grow thorns which are never of any use to them? And if I know, I myself, one flower which is unique in the world, which grows nowhere but on my planet, but which one little sheep can destroy in a single bite some morning, without even noticing what he's doing. Oh, you think that is not important?"
I took him in my arms and rocked him. "The flower that you love is not in danger. I will draw you a muzzle for your sheep. I will draw you a railing to put around your flower. I did not know what to say to him. I felt awkward and blundering. It is such a secret place, the land of tears. I soon learned to know this flower better. On the little prince's planet, the flowers had always been very simple. But one day, from a seed blown from no one knew where, a flower had come up, and the little prince had watched very closely over this small sprout. It might, you see, have been a new kind of baobab. But the shrub soon stopped growing and began to get ready to produce a flower. She chose her colors with the greatest of care. She adjusted her petals one by one. And then one morning, exactly at sunrise, she showed herself.
Oh, I beg that you will excuse me. My petals are still all disarranged.
Oh, how beautiful you are.
And I was born the same moment as the sun.
One day, when she was speaking of her thorns, she said to the little prince,
Let the tigers come with their claws.
There are no tigers on my planet.
I am not at all afraid of tigers, but I have a horror of drafts. I suppose you wouldn't have a screen for me.
This flower is a very complex creature.
At night, I want you to put me under a glass globe. It's very cold where you live. In the place where I come from,
She was embarrassed over having let herself be caught on the verge of an untruth. She could not have known anything of any other worlds. She had come in the form of a seed.
The screen?
The little prince came to doubt her, and that made him very unhappy. He decided to leave her.
I was too young to know how to love her. She perfumed all my planet, but I did not know how to take pleasure in all her grace. Oh, I ought to have judged by her deeds, not by her words.
On the morning of his departure, he put his planet in perfect order. He believed that he would never want to return.
Let the glass globe be. I don't want it anymore. After all, I am a flower.
But the animals.
I have my thorns. Don't linger like this. You've decided to go away. Now, go.
She did not want him to see her crying. She was such a proud flower. And so he left, taking advantage of the migration of a flock of wild birds. And then the little prince walked for a long time through sand and rocks and snow. At last he came to a garden all abloom with roses.
Good morning.
Who are you?
We are roses.
I thought that I was rich with a flower that was unique in all the world. And all I had was a common rose. And 3 volcanoes that come up to my knees, and one of them perhaps extinct forever. That doesn't make me a very great prince.
And he lay down in the grass and cried. It was then that the fox appeared.
Who are you? You're very pretty to look at.
I am a fox.
Come play with me. I'm so unhappy.
I cannot play with you. I'm not tamed.
What does that mean, tame?
It means to establish ties. If you tame me, then we shall need each other. To me, you will be unique in all the world. To you, I shall be unique in all the world. If you tame me, I shall know the sound of a step that will be different from all the others. And then look, you see the wheat fields yonder?
Uh-huh.
Well, they have nothing to say to me, but you have hair that is the color of gold. When you have tamed me, the wheat, which is also golden, will bring back the thought of you. and I shall love to listen to the wind and the wheat. Oh, please tame me.
What must I do?
You must be very patient. First, you will sit down at a distance from me, like that, in the grass. I shall look at you out of the corner of my eye, and you will say nothing. Words are the source of misunderstanding, but you will sit a little closer to me every day.
And so the little prince tamed the fox. And when his hour of departure drew near,
I shall cry.
But you wanted me to tame you, and now it has done you no good at all.
It has done me good because of the color of the wheat fields. Look again at the roses. You will see that they are not at all like your rose.
You are like my fox when I first knew him. He was only a fox like 100,000 other foxes. But I have made him my friend, and now he is unique in all the world. No, you are not at all like my rose.
I will tell you a very simple secret. It is only with a heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye.
What is essential is invisible to the eye.
It is the time you have spent on your rose that makes your rose so important.
It is the time I have spent on my rose.
You have become responsible forever for what you have tamed. You are responsible for your rose.
I am responsible for my rose.